Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
And what is up, you guys? Welcome to the stream as your New York Mets get a 4-3 walk-off victory here on this Monday evening. And I have a big smile on my face. Yes, I'm really happy that the Mets got this W today over the Pirates. I was a little concerned with POSTGAME on the mound, obviously. And I'm not going to lie to you, part of it is also because of a huge win for the New York Knicks. Let me get it. Go New York, go New York, go. They take the 3-1 lead against the Boston Celtics. I had to throw it in there. I'm assuming you're a Knicks fan because everybody knows there's no such thing as Nets fans out there, right? Huge win for the Knicks. I'll tell you one thing. It is hard to keep an eye on the Mets game on your laptop and the Knicks game on TV at the same time and be able to come on here and hopefully give you guys some good thoughts about this Mets game. But that's exactly what I'm going to try to do. What's up, guys? I am Tony Metro. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I do daily Mets content. We do pre-game, post-game streams on here and everything in between as well. You can also follow me on all my different platforms on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to those are all in the bio below. You can also try to call into the Discord. I think that's on one of these sides down here. And we can have our little live call in here. I've said it many times. I am an old man now. I am 30 years old. I do not know how to use all these different apps that the Gen Z kids know how to use. So if any of you do know how to get that stuff going, please give me a tutorial. I'll happily take your advice. But let's get into the topic at hand. No, it's not the New York Knicks. This is a Mets channel. So let's talk about the 4-3 victory that they pull home tonight. So David Peterson was on the mound, and we knew this was going to be a challenge with POSTGAME opposing him, but David Peterson kind of went toe-to-toe with POSTGAME. Obviously, probably not a fair trade-off, the Mets lineup versus the Pirates lineup. The Pirates do not have a whole lot of quality hitters in there. It was cool to see Alexander Canario playing center field for the Pirates. Obviously, he was with the Mets in spring training after they acquired him from Chicago. Would have loved to have kept Canario, but it just didn't work out as far as the roster crunch. But David Peterson pitched pretty well in this one. You know, he opens the game with 2 walks, and we were a little like, okay, that's a little concerning. We know David Peterson has had the walk issues in the past throughout his career, but then he was able to bear down, get out of that jam, no problem, and keep it scoreless. The Mets actually got 2 runners aboard in the first inning against Skeens. Francisco Lindor started things off with a base knock to right field, so pretty impressive at bat from him. And then they were able to get another guy, Juan Soto, actually drew a walk. Gary Cohen dropped a great stat. No time in Juan Soto's now 7-year career has he ever not reached base in 3 consecutive games. I mean, how insane is that? And he makes sure that isn't the case immediately there in the first inning by drawing a walk. But unfortunately, even though Pete Alonso hit the ball very hard, it was a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play, and then Brandon Nimmo would strike out. The Pirates would get one in the first. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hitting the home run into left field. Of course, the first day that he comes off of the injured list, comes out with a bang to put the Pirates out in front. And then we go to the 4th inning. 1-0 still Pirates, and I don't know what it is, but Jeff McNeil is POSTGAME's daddy. Okay, that's a little unfair, but so far, in his very few plate appearances, Jeff McNeil has been killing it. Last year, we know he hit a home run against POSTGAME, and then today ropes a game-tying double down the right field line to score Brandon Nimmo and make this a 1-1 ball game, as you just saw in the highlights right there. Really impressive day, I got to say, from Jeff McNeil. He had some really quality at-bats outside of that only one against POSTGAME. So really love to see that. It would be 1-1, and then the Pirates would get one in the 7th. Now, this was ridiculous. So David Peterson walks the leadoff batter. He was sent out for the 7th, and Jose Butto ends up allowing a steal. It would look like it was a slider that Francisco Alvarez tried to quickly catch and then get up out of his crouch to throw down to second, and basically just whiffed on the play. It allows that runner to go to second, and then Jose Butto throws over once to second, tries a second time, and then disengaged, turned, tried for daylight a third time, and we know that if you disengage 3 times now with these new rules and you don't pick the runner off, they are automatically awarded the next base. And that's exactly what happened to me. And this is what Gary and Ronnie Darling speculated on the broadcast. It was just a brain fart by Jose Butto, by maybe Acuna, and maybe by Francisco Alvarez behind the plate, not realizing how many times that Butto had disengaged from the rubber. But that was definitely a little bit of an alarming play. Jose Butto has not looked super sharp in his pitching, and for him to have a mental gaffe like that as well, that eventually allowed the go-ahead run to score, that was very, very frustrating. We'll go a little deeper into the bullpen later on. But fortunately, despite it being a 2-1 game, the Mets come back in the 7th, and they end up scoring in some very unconventional ways. First and third, Juan Soto chops one into the ground that probably bounced 50 feet in the air like a super ball to the first baseman and ends up scoring the tying run. And then Pete Alonso to the left side, the third baseman, Brian Hayes, just knocks it down. They try to get a play at the plate. Luis Angel Acuna slides in just barely safe. They actually review that play, and to me, I gotta be honest, it doesn't really look like he actually got in there. I know his foot didn't touch, so they were saying, did his hand touch? But did his hand touch before he got tagged? It was a very close call, and I think that's why they didn't end up overturning it. So the Mets would go on to a 3-2 lead in the 8th inning, a scoreless inning from Dednau Nunez, though he tried his hardest to very nearly give up a game-tying solo homer to left field to lead off that inning. Fortunately, Brandon Nimmo, you know what? Say what you want about how he looks running out there, and we know that he's a little bit shaky with his legs right now and some injuries he's been battling, but that has got to be the 3rd or 4th catch up against the wall that he has made this year at Citi Field. He has been tremendous going up against that wall, either robbing a home run or coming close to that railing just above the orange line. Tremendous play by Brandon Nimmo. Whether it would have been over the wall or not, I don't know, but great play by Brandon Nimmo to keep a scoreless inning for Dednau Nunez. And so we go to the 9th. No Edwin Diaz available. He pitched Saturday. He pitched Sunday. He was not going to pitch a 3rd day in a row, no matter how easy of an outing he had yesterday against the Cubbies. Ryan Stanek as well. He pitched on Friday, and he pitched the day before that. Somewhere in there, 2 games in the last 3 days. He was unavailable as well. So they go to Huascar Brazoban, who I've raved about all year. He has done saves. He has pitched in long relief. He has done opener starts. And unfortunately, tonight, he just didn't have it. He gives up a base hit up the middle, another base hit to make it 1st and 2nd, and then some very weird plays from the defense. 1st and 3rd, then with 1 out. Chopper to third base. Ronald Acuna, I wish, kind of. No, I love Luis. I love Luis Angel. Luis Angel Acuna can't handle the chopper to third base, who was put in there after some defensive switches, and unfortunately, the tying run scores. Looked like we got the out at first. We didn't. Fortunately, Brian Reynolds hits into a double play up the middle. Huascar Brazoban gets out of the jam after, though, giving up the lead. Fortunately, though, we go to the 9th. We get a base, well, not a base hit. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa would make an error on Lindor's play up the middle. Juan Soto would get a base hit. And then Pete Alonso hitting a sac fly to right field, and the ball game is over. Put it in the books. The New York Mets win this one, a final of 4-3. They improve to 27-15 on the year. And I'll just say this about tonight's game. This was probably the least sexy baseball game you will ever watch. If you sat down someone who's not a baseball fan but is willing to give it a try, this would be the game I'd put on if I didn't want them to continue watching baseball, because this was not a very entertaining game. I mean, the emotions of it were there, but as far as the scoring, I mean, just some really unconventional, untraditional ways of scoring in this one for the Mets. We know the first run from Jeff McNeil was a rope double, obviously. Okay, great. After that, it's a infield single, and then another infield single, and then it looked like it's an error, and then a sac fly for the game winner from Pete Alonso. I mean, not exactly the sexiest game from the Mets offense tonight. But that being said, I will also say this. I was extremely impressed with the Mets lineup and the way they approached Paul Skeens. Now, Skeens did not have his best stuff. We know that. Issuing a walk in the first inning. I think he issued probably 4 in this game. Let me just double check on that real quick. I want to make sure I have it right. He issued 3 walks in this game. So he did not have his typical pinpoint control that Paul Skeens will have on his best night. But the Mets allowed him to throw balls and take their walks and get deep into counts and get hittable pitches, whatever you want to define as a hittable pitch against Paul Skeens, because there's not a whole lot of them, even when they are in the zone. That's how good he is. But I really was impressed by the Mets lineup and the approach that they had at the plate tonight against Skeens. I really think that they did a great job of working the counts, being patient, not trying to do too much. We know he's a fireballer. We know he has that blinker that Gary Cohen loved to reference probably 100 times tonight on the broadcast. But I really thought that the Mets lineup was impressive, not trying to do too much against a guy that we all know is arguably the best pitcher in baseball, or one of the best pitchers in baseball. So really, really liked what I saw from the lineup overall as far as their approach tonight against a fireballer, a just nasty, nasty pitcher like Paul Skeens. And if you look at the box score, it ends up being a pretty impressive day for a lot of different guys. Some of these, of course, come against the relievers. Skeens left after the 6th inning. And so the Mets end up having a total of 9 hits in this ball game. 2 for 5 for Francisco Lindor. We know he led off the game against Paul Skeens with a base hit. Juan Soto, 1 for 4. He had that one in the 9th. He also drew a walk. And then you have Pete Alonso, 1 for 4 in this one. He gets 2 RBIs, probably the weirdest RBIs. I mean, definitely that one on the ground ball to the left side to give them the lead there in the 7th inning. The sac fly, a little more normal probably for him. But overall, I mean, almost everybody in this lineup tonight gets a base hit. 2 hits for Vientos, who is hot. Okay, Mark Vientos is red hot. He was hitting .341 with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs in the last 15 games entering tonight's matchup with the Pirates. He adds another 2 hits in this one. His average has quietly risen to .243, OPS up to .721. Love to see it out of Mark. Yeah, Jeff McNeil, of course, with that RBI double, but maybe more impressively from Jeff McNeil, drawing 2 walks in this one. You never see Jeff McNeil drawing walks. It's like a switch has turned with him. He's being a lot more patient, and I really am loving what I'm seeing out of this new Happy Jeff, right? Everyone loves Happy Jeff. Jonathan, what's up, man? Livy Dunn considered leaving Paul Skeens for my... Hey, man, I've seen interviews with Paul Skeens. He has the personality of a bench. He is not a very interesting person at all, at least not on camera from what I've seen. Now, he also is going to be worth $400 million one day and is one of the greatest athletes on the planet at this moment, but didn't seem all that interesting of a guy, if you ask me. Yeah, maybe she will leave him for Mark. Mets 16-4 at home. Dude, the Mets have defended Citi Field like it is their job. They have been unreal at Citi Field. And tonight, not a great crowd. Part of that for sure because the Knicks were playing at MSG. Like I said, I was watching both games at the same time and I was distracted. So I can understand why a lot of Mets fans stayed home or were at the Knicks game or watching it somewhere. But still, the Mets have been so good at Citi Field this year. I mean, this has got to be one of the best home starts that they have had in a long, long time. I don't have the numbers off the top of my list. That'll be my little research assignment for tonight. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. SMY could get it like that. But I'm going to have to dig a little deeper to find it. But really, really strong start for the Mets at home. 16-4. What else can you say about them? James, what's up? Watching Knicks and Mets same time? Heck yeah. Go, man. 3-1 Knicks. Let's go, man. I will say this. Even though I was cussing him out the entire game because he is so good, I really hope that Jason Tatum will be okay. I can't imagine this guy is going to play again this series. That looked really bad. It didn't in terms of the replay. It's got to be an ACL because it doesn't look like an ankle or anything. He just maybe hyperextended something, but you don't go down in pain screaming like that when you're getting wheelchaired out through the tunnels of the arena if it's just a hyperextended knee. I'm thinking it might be a torn ACL for Jason Tatum. All I can say is get well, get back. You're an amazing player, and you were frustrating the hell out of me all game. The dude was ridiculous tonight. That's all I'll say about the Knicks, unless you guys chime in and you want to talk more Knicks. But getting back to the Mets here, the offense, again, I thought the approach from everybody against Skeens was really, really solid. Even one guy who I don't want to omit, and that's Francisco Alvarez, because he's the lone guy in this lineup tonight that didn't get a hit. He was 0 for 3. Well, actually, I'm sorry, Beatty also was 0 for 2. But we're focusing on Alvarez. 0 for 3 in this one. But he drew a really impressive walk against Skeens in that one as well. I mean, yes, Skeens started him out 3-0, but then it got to 3-1, and he laid off a really tough pitch. Alvy's been looking a little better, a little more patient at the plate. He still has that bugaboo with that high fastball, that high heat. He loves to go after it. He thinks he can catch it, but he usually can't. Hopefully he can get that little cold spot out of his zone and stop swinging at that pitch at the eyes. But still, I thought it was a really good, impressive at-bat there from Francisco Alvarez. So that's it for the lineup. Let's take a look at the pitching. What do you guys think? What's your biggest takeaway just from the lineup? Like I said, this was the least sexy baseball game as far as hitting as I think I've seen in a long time. If I wanted someone to never watch baseball again, this is the game I would put on for them because they'd probably be bored to death from it. But let me know in the comment section, what was your guys' big takeaway from the Mets lineup this evening? Let's go over to the mound. David Peterson getting the start in this one. Now, I said in a pregame video, one of my shorts here on YouTube, or you could have caught it on TikTok, David Peterson has not been as sharp or consistent as he was there for a good stretch of time back in 2024. We know he struggled a little bit against the Cardinals his last time out, giving up 3 runs, 2 runs, 4 runs. That's pretty much been consistently what we've been getting from Peterson. No blow-up games where he gives up 5 or 6 and only goes 2 innings. Nothing like that. He's keeping the Mets in games. In fact, they had won 5 of his last 7 starts. But we hadn't seen the super sharp Peterson that we were hoping would take that next step this year. I thought we got that for the most part today. He walks the first 2 batters of the game, but he's able to settle down. He's able to get out of that first inning jam. Gives up the home run to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. It's such a hard name to say. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa to lead off the second inning. But then after that, he pretty much cruised. Throws up zeros in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. He ends up retiring 9 in a row at one point during those 3 innings. And so I really thought he had some pretty nasty stuff today. The slider looked as good as I think it has in a while. I thought the Pirates also, like the Mets with their approach to Skeens, had a good approach to Peterson and laid off that slider. But overall, 6 innings, gives up 5 hits. He does walk 3, but only caves for 2 earned runs. He also had 7 strikeouts. And if you look at the season numbers now for Peterson, he lowers his ERA down to 3.05. I mean, I think we all would have signed for David Peterson at a 3.05 ERA. I mean, I was hoping he was going to take that step toward becoming the staff ace in this rotation, and it's still possible. It's still possible for sure. But that being said, 3.05 ERA. If he goes out and keeps giving us starts like this where he's giving the Mets an opportunity to win, what more could you really ask for? So I was really happy with Peterson. What did you guys think of his performance tonight? I mean, again, nothing super dazzling. The 3 walks and the 5 hits kind of puts a damper on it, but after that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa homer, after the 2 walks in the first inning, I really thought he cruised in this one and was pretty impressive. So that was my big takeaway from Peterson. Again, love to see him hopefully get another shot here. He's probably going to pitch against the Yankees this upcoming weekend. We know lefties on lefties there at Yankee Stadium is a good matchup. So we'll see who's in the lineup for the Yankees this weekend when he faces them. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with where Peterson is at this point in 2025. But let me know in the comment section below. You guys feel like he's taking that step toward becoming an ace in this rotation? Or are you thinking he's still kind of that middle of the pack, 2 on a good day, 3 more often than not kind of guy? The Mets bullpen is giving me agita. I got to be honest. They go to Jose Butto there in the 7th. We know about the 3 pickoff attempts that he makes to second base, which ends up becoming a balk and moving the runner to third, the tying run to third. What's going on with Jose Butto? He's not pitching particularly effective at this point, number one, and then has a brain gaffe like he does tonight where he tries to pick someone off at second 3 times. I didn't understand that at all. I mean, I always grew up watching guys and playing the game as just focus on the guy at the plate, especially with a guy on second base. I don't know why he was so concerned about him. I know he was dancing off the base, but I could understand 3 pickoff attempts to first base where maybe you forgot, but 3 pickoff attempts to second base where you have to turn your leg all the way around as a righty. That was like a total brain fart from Jose Butto. I mean, it's one thing to not be pitching effectively. It's another thing to add mental mistakes to it as well. So that was very alarming for me from Jose Butto. I mean, Fortunately, was able to finish out the outing and no harm, no foul. The Mets come away with the win. He actually left with the game still tied. Now Nunez, like I said, that ball was inches away from being a home run. Fortunately, Brandon Nimmo was able to get to the top of the fence and take it back. It looked like he's not the guy I really want to see in the 8th inning in a one-run game quite yet. I think I'd still prefer to go to Stanek. Obviously, I'd prefer to go to Reed Garrett at this point. Neither of them seem to be available, so unfortunately, baptism by fire for Nunez. And then Brazoban, I mean, look, he ends up getting the win in this one, which is hilarious because he blows the save. I mean, I'm not going to give any grief to Brazoban. You know, he ends up 1 inning, 2 hits, and gives up the game-tying run, but he's been so great lately. Even so, his ERA is at 1.08 for the year, so how could you really fault him? One time, it happens. It is what it is. I still trust the guy with my life on the line if he had to go out and pitch a scoreless inning. That might be a little dramatic, but I do really trust Brazoban in this bullpen. So, unfortunately, guys, I need to cut this short because the laptop is about to die and it's just going to cut out otherwise. But I really appreciate you guys all joining in. And guys, be sure to stay tuned. I got a really special project coming out. I think you're going to like it. Maybe not, though, because it's not about one of the more positive years in New York Mets history, but I think it will be very informational and have a lot of really cool things throughout the entire video, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be a little while, maybe another couple days, maybe at most a week before it comes out. I will reveal more details, little breadcrumbs along the way here on these streams. But back tomorrow, post-game stream after Mets and Pirates as they look to take the first 2 of the series with the Buccos. That's it for tonight. Mets 4-3 win. They improved to 12 games over 500 at 27-15. Drop a comment section in the below how you're feeling about this Mets ball club right now. First place in the National League East, and maybe how you feeling about our New York Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Up 3-1 in their series as well. That's going to do it for tonight, guys. I'm Tony Metro. Until next time, stay true to the orange and blue.